Movidude says, I love this format, but sometimes miss the old podcast. What are some media that you have encountered recently that you love and or want to recommend? Books, TV, movies, live theater. I saw some Sinners, and I loved the spit out of it. That was spectacular. I don't think I've been to the movies since then. Wait a minute. I walked out of something everyone loved, and I don't want to talk about it. That's fine. I don't need to defend my tastes. One of the funniest things, I'm 58 now, is that, like, I went to this blockbuster movie. Don't try to guess, it doesn't matter. But I went to this blockbuster movie, and like 20 minutes in, I'm like, shoot me. I hate this. I hate everything about being in this plot, in this movie with these characters, and I just left. And what it ended up feeling to me was not like, those people are wrong. Not at all. Like, so many people love this thing. That what I end up understanding is that, like, the fire hose of culture, which is like a scatter plot, right? And it points right at you when you're in the middle of culture that people care about. But now I'm 58, I'm matriculating up. So like the fire hose of culture is sort of missing me more and more these days, where I'm like, I don't understand this thing at all. Does anyone else understand this? There are a few things. My favorite movie last year was Anora. I felt like I was watching a wholly new kind of movie. It felt almost as shocking as like a Cassavetes film must have felt in the late 60s to me. Like, the structure is weird. The characters are not the kind of characters you're used to empathizing with. It's so beautiful and it's so loving. I've watched Prey like 5 times now, and I just watched it again a few weeks ago. It's like comfort food for my wife and I. And I just finished the season 3 finale of Foundation the other night, which is I enjoy Foundation. It's a big goofy show with giant swings, and I love it. I think Demerzel is one of the most interesting characters I have come across in fiction. I'm not even going to qualify which medium. Demerzel is so cool as a character. Those are the big things. And then I wanted to talk about podcasts. And I've mentioned these in some other places, but it always bears repeating. Because these podcasts that I listen to, the thing about each of these 6 podcasts I'm about to mention is that I can listen to them repeatedly. And I really like listening to them repeatedly. Each of the hosts is really interesting in their thoughts about what's going on with the stuff that they're covering, but they're also very egoless about the edges of their knowledge. Okay, so starting right off is a podcast that Tessa's own Joey Famelli recommended to me called Going Rogue. Tansy Gardam is a Australian movie critic, filmmaker, writer, and she started this podcast doing a 4 or 5 part breakdown of the making of Going Rogue. That's incredibly... Rogue One. What did I say? Going Rogue. Thank you. Rogue One. That's incredibly balanced. And then she covers lots of other films that have troubled productions. She has a Patreon, which with all of these people, I also follow their Patreons because you get extra content from all of them. Tansy's extra content is wonderful. Her immediate thoughts on new movies that came out, just great. I really, really, really like hearing her talk about how much she loves movies and how much that relationship to movies is like such a high for her. She cares so deeply about how they get made that she really loves unpacking. Her episode about the scripts and the changes for Don't Worry, Darling is fascinating. Again, I've listened to almost every episode of Going Rogue twice. And part of that is because most of these folks don't put out a lot of podcasts. Not at the periodicity I would wish they do. But, we all gotta do what we can. Going Rogue is great. If Books Could Kill, spectacular show. Peter Shimshuri and Michael Hobbs, a lawyer and an academic, break down popular airport nonfiction. Malcolm Gladwell, What's Wrong with Kansas, etc. They're incredibly scientific in their analysis. They go very deep in their research to cover the facts asserted in some of these books. Just spectacular. And listening to that podcast, which also has a Patreon where they do pundit portraits, which is wonderful. led me to each of those guys' previous podcasts. So Peter Shimshuri is on 5 to 4, which is a podcast about why the Supreme Court sucks. And literally, that's the tagline. And Michael Hobbs is one of the founders of You're Wrong About with Sarah Marshall. He has left that, but there's a whole bunch of early episodes with him. So I get my Michael Hobbs on. And Sarah Marshall's spectacular. You're Wrong About is also on this list. Spectacular. And it covers old news stories that you might have heard about, but might be generationally, they precede you, and so you don't know all the facts. And what they tend to do is they'll take a big cultural moment like that, and they'll unpack it and show you that actually the ways in which the rumors trickled down to us are totally wrong, and the real situation is way weirder than you think. Going Rogue, Books and Kill, Wrong About, 5 to 4. The last two are Phoebe Judge's Criminal, spectacular podcast about crime of all sorts. In the most recent episode, she attempts to scam a British grandmother AI that was built just for wasting the time of scammers. Fascinating and thrilling. Sometimes Phoebe Judge's content is a little too intense for me. I don't like reading about nice people who get murdered. But besides that, I love here for all the other crime content. And the last one is, I'm going to mention this every time I mention podcasts ever in the world, is Ologies by Ali Ward. She is one of my top 3 science communicators going, man. She is so smart and so, she one of the sort of, I guess, personal taglines she has for the show is asking smart people stupid questions. And it's something she constantly recommends to do. And honestly, in almost every interview, her interviewee will say, wow, no one's ever asked that before, which is astounding. I've interviewed a lot of people, and you get that once or twice, and it feels like a home run. She gets it almost every interview. And the other thing she gets in almost every interview is a genuine guffaw from the guest. She just put up her Otters episode from a couple of years ago, and it's a moral horror show. Otters, dude, they are, yeah, the otters are just terrible. But her coverage of them with an otterologist, the name of the otterologist, I can't quite remember what the ology is for otters. But anyway, those are my podcasts. And that's mostly what I listen to. Like on a plane, I'm loading up a whole bunch. Of course, the standard ones still apply. I still listen to every season of You Must Remember This, and also go a lot through their back catalog listening to stuff. HexLex says that they make YouTube videos as a side hustle and have been proud that they make the content they want to, and people naturally gravitate toward it. However, with views dropping lately, they're debating making content that they think will get more views, even if it's not their first choice. How have you grappled with making the things that you want versus the thing you think will be most profitable? I will say, Untested, we are fairly regularly have our hats handed to us about our expectations about how a video will and won't do. In fact, it's so constant that we remind each other, you never know. You never know. And because you never know, like there was a lightsaber I built that just didn't do amazing. And, we just thought those last 2 lightsabers went amazing. This one will, and it didn't. And it's a lesson in humility, but it's also a lesson to me in if you start making videos because you think they will do well, I will tell you from my experience, after the decades I've been doing this, that I'm still mostly wrong. You probably will be wrong about what you think will do well. And then you will be making videos where the views still aren't doing great, and you're also unhappy about doing it. You're grinding it out. And grinding it out is fine. Listen, commerce exists. We all have to make a living. I don't begrudge anybody the living that they have to do or the commerce they have to engage with in order to survive. Never will I begrudge anyone that. But I am also a firm believer, again, from the place of privilege that I get to sit, in just concentrating on the things you're interested in. And your views are going to fluctuate. Ours fluctuate all the time. And a lot of the time it's vexing. Sometimes the solutions are surprising. But I would say unto you, HexLex, it is reasonable to occasionally experiment with with things you think might be high profitability, but go in with a humble and open mind to be wrong, because you are most likely going to be wrong. And what I want you to take away from that is to concentrate on what you're interested in. What I think that the thing that makes any content watchable is a specific point of view. I think that that is what makes anything viewable. The great painting, the great piece of music, a great stage play, movie, table, dress. When it's great because someone exercised a very specific viewpoint they had on the world and what it should have in it. Video that we put up this week with Ryan Norbauer, maker of the ludicrously rare and incredible Seneca keyboard. Not a keyboard for anybody with logic or sense in their desire for an excellent keyboard. It goes past all of that, and he has made an incredible thing. And honestly, we'll include a link to this video in the description. He's so articulate and poetic at the way he explains himself and the origin story of why he is using the lifestyle he has to execute the things that he wants to make. And it's such a specific point of view. Again, I'm just thrilled by it. Thank you for watching. I wanted to talk to you about Tested membership. The Tested members are a key community that we find really, really remarkable. That's very separate from Tested and from YouTube. The Tested members, they buy each other memberships during our live streams. So if you're wondering whether to become a member, watch one of our live streams and someone may just give you one. It is hard to overestimate how much the Tested members actually make possible on this channel. They give us a lot of wiggle room. They give us a huge amount of feedback.
That's a member right now.
Thank you so much for enjoying your membership. Link in the description for everything you need to know. And for all the members out there, thank you, thank you, thank you.